I want to go over with you what a dysgenic society is. And I wanted to explain that that's what we're dealing with right now, and that's what we're living in. You see, a eugenic society is a society where the fittest survive, the best traits are held up as noble and lofty, and they're passed on. Now, there's a lot of sort of negative connotation with the word eugenics because of the Eugenic Society of America, which changed its name into Planned Parenthood after they got, bad press considering they influenced the socialists in Germany, right? But the fact is, eugenics, by which a society or nature itself chooses the fittest by merit, that which is held up and held lofty as good or enviable or something that you should try to become or emulate, that is natural and normal. Nature decides that. But in a dysgenic society, the opposite is true. The ugly is selected, not the beautiful. The ignorant, the stupid is preferred to the intelligent. The uncreative, like Hollywood, for example, who can't come up with anything on their own unless they buy it from an actual writer, is held above the creator. And those who create are pushed to the gutter and paid nothing, while the people who live off of them like parasites reach the top. An idiot, an ignoramus who can't put two and two together, who's never read any great books, never come up with a philosophy that could benefit anyone. But, he can throw a basketball into a hoop. Give him millions and hundreds of millions of dollars because that's valuable. That is a dysgenic society where everything low, everything worthless, everything criminal, everything ugly is put to the top, and everything worthy, everything noble by the fruits that they bear, not because they're born noble. Do you know what I mean? Something beautiful, something glorious, true creation, right? Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, people like that versus that dipshit LeBron James, that ugly looking fucking piece of crap. And all he can do is throw a ball right and left. Meanwhile, he sucks the communist dick. What a surprise. See, communism has always been dysgenic. And we are living in a dysgenic society now as the communists attempt to take over all the West. And what are they doing? They're elevating the dumbest, most ridiculous people in our societies to the level of untouchable. Can't touch them. Those poor people are victims. Therefore, they should be put to the top. The lowest, scummiest fucking criminals you could imagine, they're releasing out of the prisons all over our societies. Why do you think that is? Because they raised them to the top, and they take people who are actually noble, who have good intentions, good hearts, care for their families, work for their communities. Those people are kicked to the gutter. The people who can create, the people who make, the guy who works 9 to 5 every day on that tractor, working on the construction site there. The guy who's doing work, he's a piece of shit. He's a racist. He's a scumbag. Fuck him. No, we need to give all the money from the taxes to these new brown people who haven't done anything for our society whatsoever. They've just shown up from Afghanistan and South America and Africa and everywhere else. Give them all the money because they're a bunch of lazy shits who do nothing and they have nothing to do with us. That, my friend, is a dysgenic society. Are you starting to see? That's what we're in. Now, if you look at history, dysgenic societies happen as a result of the corruption within. And that corruption comes from the top. Always does. So you have people who increasingly get to the top, not because they were a great conqueror, they were a great writer, a great king, right? A brilliant group of individuals following philosophical treatises that bring enlightenment to people, that bring a prosperous nation together. Increasingly, what you get instead are the trader class, the people who sell baubles and bells and things that they import from other countries, the true internationalists who don't feel tied to the city or the nation or the culture that they're selling or hawking their crap in. Those people amass great wealth, and they rise to the top. And when they rise to the top, those low-born fucking scum. Now, why am I calling them low-born? Because of their genetics? No. I'm calling them low-born because these people are not naturally creative. They're not naturally intelligent. They're not naturally good or noble people. All they can do is sell a product and lie to you. They're good at propaganda. And in every society, when they rise to the top, from the ancient Aztec Empire, the ancient Mayan Empire, the ancient Egyptian Empire, the ancient Roman Empire, to the modern counterparts like the British Empire and now the American Empire and whatnot. You have the same exact thing. The unworthy, the unfit, the lowest of the low. The people who neither create great songs, who cannot come up with great thoughts. They're not good leaders. They don't help society. They enrich themselves. Those people rise to the top. And when those people rise to the top, they create, instead of a eugenic society, whereby nature elevates those who create the most and add the most to society, who are noble by virtue of their actions. Right? They've written great works, and so we recognize them. We make statues to them. Well, they're tearing those statues down, and they're putting up ugly, thuggish animals like George Fuckbag Floyd, who should have gotten shot a long fucking time ago. I would have done it myself if I'd even know he existed. Seen that piece of shit come near me? After what he did to that fucking pregnant woman, he should have been shot on the fucking spot when he fucking fucked with her. Fucking filth and scum held up to be something good. And this isn't all just about blacks. There are plenty of good blacks who are noble by their actions, who want to do the right thing. And those people are kicked to the side. You know, they've had a eugenic society of their own turned into a dysgenic society within the span of less than 100 years. Mostly by the Democratic Party. Mostly by them. But they got friends in the Republicans too. So now you look at the poor black community, and they're fucked, man. All their leaders are scum. They're not good people. The good people are kicked aside and called racists and Uncle Toms. And now they're doing that to the whites as well. They have been for a while, and it's gaining such ground that you got dipshits and crap music reigning, while good music is kicked to the side. That's dumb, that's redneck, that's hillbilly, that's stupid. No, it's got heart. It's about good people. It's about good societies. It's about people who care about each other, where there's actually love. You ever heard any music nowadays coming out of fucking music land that's about love? No, it's all about fucking hoes and shit. Hoes and fucking niggas. Nigga, nigga, nigga. Ho, ho, ho. And what happened to all the girl fucking bands? They're gone now too. Remember the girl bands? They used to have like the Bangles, right? Where chicks would come together, they'd sing, no, there's no togetherness. There's one bitch dancing around like Madonna, the stupid fucking nasty ass fucking disgusting hoe. Dancing around with a bunch of people dancing behind her. To push the whole cult of personality ideal and to divide women from each other and divide them from community. So all they can do is think about themselves, making them selfish. Disgenic. And what happened to the Aztecs? Remember, they were a huge empire. Huge fucking empire. They took over all sorts of areas throughout that South and Central America. Huge empire. Well, they went multicultural. They went dysgenic. Okay? They started adding more and more tribes to them. They moved their gods to their central city where they'd have to go and travel to worship their gods. They became a huge empire just like the Romans did. The Romans added more and more people, and they became less and less themselves. They became less and less Roman. All the good things that made the Aztecs superior people to the people they conquered, nobler people, more prosperous people by nature, because they had greater creativity, they had greater mindset. They had a greater work ethic, Everything that made them truly noble, they lost in time, as the noble part of them was replaced by the ignoble, the ugly. They started sacrificing hundreds and thousands of people to appease their gods. Why? Because the older religions that they used to follow, they pushed aside in favor of the idiot religion that appealed to the idiots. It's the same thing in Rome. Same exact freaking thing in Rome. They kept adding more and more and more and more people, making them citizens, making them on par with their own citizenry. And what happened? Same as in the Aztec area. Slavery went to absurd dimensions. Slaves everywhere. Human sacrifice everywhere. Human life meant spit. That's ignoble. That's a dysgenic society. And more and more, their so-called elitists, became evil because they took what was ignoble, what was low, and they elevated it to high status. Same as we're seeing now in the West. The most useless people held up as the pinnacle, as the elite, the people who produce nothing, the people who use others, who are stupid themselves. Same as philosophical ideas. We have philosophical ideas and treatises all over the world that align with what is right, align with nature, and describe that what is beautiful and what is good, whether it's the Greek philosophers, the German philosophers, all over the world. You got modern Mexican philosophers, you got philosophers everywhere who can discern the difference between what is ugly and ignoble and base and stupid, and what is truly noble and what is truly good. That which serves the good. That which serves the people. That which protects individualism while at the same time maintaining a sort of collectivist spirit towards good. Not this fake good that communism spreads through pure collectivism and the assassination of the individual. Borg philosophy, the lowest of the low, dysgenic. You, my friend, whether male or female, have grown up in a dysgenic society, and we are at the tail end of it. Because let me tell you something. Whether it was Rome, whether it was the Aztec Empire, the Mayan Empire, or even the Egyptian Empire, towards the end of their empire, they became more and more dysgenic. The smart people had fewer and fewer until they had no kids, and the dumb people, the unfit people, calling themselves noble, calling themselves the elite, which they're not. They neither create nor help anyone other than themselves. They are the base-born, they are the low. But in a dysgenic society, they raise themselves up. They release the criminals out of the prisons, because who should be criminals? The people who question their fitness. The people who dare to question the legitimacy of stolen elections. The people who dare to question mandates that make no sense. It doesn't matter if they make sense. This is dysgenic society. We make the rules. The dummies are in charge. Ugly is good. Filthy is clean. And you have grown up in this. You may not think you have because it's hard to see. It's a rot. It's a slow rot that spreads. But there's a reason why so many writers, so many philosophers have talked about the ancient times with a certain amount of nostalgia. Because in those times, in many cases, when they weren't in a dysgenic phase, the noble writers, the noble songwriters, the creators of great art, the people who were noble by their actions, who worked for their families and their communities, the people who worked to make everything and everyone prosperous, the good farmers, the good workers, those people were held up as noble. And the idiots, the ugly people, the dumb people who require other people to live off of, those people were rightfully called what they are: useless, or at the very least burdens, because they are. They're burdens. They contribute nothing but ignorance. They don't understand history. They don't understand the present. They sure as hell don't understand the future. And when you allow people like that to get into positions of power, they turn your entire society upside down. And that's why we're in an upside down world, because it's a eugenic phase of our society. Now, if left unchecked, as it was in ancient Egypt, where they started pushing transvestitism on the people. Sound familiar? Wear makeup, man. You're just like the women. No, you're not. A man is a man, as a woman is a woman. They push homosexuality. It's totally fine. What do you think happened to the Greek Empire? It's all good. Thanks to the Athenians and their boy love. Right? When they start pushing homosexuality, which, you know what? Leave the homosexuals alone. I don't give a shit. You go do whatever you want, but you don't get to take over our society and flip the fucking script and say that somehow something that's against nature, i.e. homosexuality itself, which does not create anything, which is why the only way that they can have kids is if they propagandize the young generation to believe that their insane version of love is on par with heterosexuality, okay? When you have a dysgenic society, homosexuality comes back, and boy, does it come back hard. It's held up as the equal of heterosexuality. Heterosexuality combines the great forces of the universe to create life. Homosexuality is static. It's dead. It creates nothing. It's dead. And while these people want to go ahead and fuck in the ass, again, another place that produces death. Refuse. The body releases dead material from there. That's what they're attracted to. Not the pussy. Not the pussy where life comes from. Think about that. Now, sorry to get all mean words with you. Maybe insulting. Maybe you don't like that. I don't give a shit. Things are too fucking harsh right now to use simple, easy words every second. If you can't deal with this, if you can't deal with harsh facts, or maybe putting down homosexuality, then get the fuck out of here. Because it's the adoption of these dysgenic notions, rather than just letting them exist in the fucking shadows, but never giving them the power to climb. These people have instead raised them up. And you know what their plan is? Their plan is to make everyone, or most people who are born, into homosexuals, because that's going to fix the climate situation, which is just code word for communist change. There is no climate situation. The climate's always changing, you know this. But in a dysgenic society, the dumbest things, the things that have no logic to back them, that's what's pushed. Say hello to COVID. Wait, there's all these conflicting ideas. Wait, it doesn't make any sense. Why you said just do it? Because these are the idiots. The idiots have taken over. The morons are held to the highest. Right? So you get what I'm saying. Why do you think the Aztecs were so easily beaten? By, 100? Maybe 200 Spaniards? Because they got all their friends. As they marched on their way to the Aztec Empire, they made friends with all the people who had been brought into the Aztec Empire. See? Multiculturalism, flourishing. We're all part of the Aztec Empire. They hated their fucking guts. And they were more than happy to help these new guys kick the shit out of the Aztecs. So on their march towards the center of power in that world in Central America, the Aztec Empire, the Spaniards picked up all sorts of tribes that were added to the Aztec Empire. Their multiculturalism was the poison pill that destroyed them in the end. What do you think happened to Rome? Same exact thing. Same exact thing. All roads lead to Rome because they kept making roads everywhere, through every township and every community. They added it and added and added until you couldn't even tell what a Roman was anymore. And then the ugly and the base, the disgusting, became elevated. In the Aztec Empire, it was ripping hearts out of fucking bodies to make the rain. In the Roman Empire, it was having men fight to the death in the gladiatorial arena, sometimes women too, and animals, so that the rain would come, so that the gods would be pleased. Whatever. Ignorant beliefs. The dumb, the low, the base, the beneath you, the ignoble raised up. And there's a direct corollary. a direct correlation between the rise of the trading class and the banking class, the two most useless people other than maybe politicians and lawyers in a society, who do nothing but facilitate business. That's all they do. That's all they do. They don't create anything. They just sell and trade. And those people raise, or liars, lawyers being liars, politicians, professional liars, all filth, all scum, raised to the highest, all working together to keep themselves in that position, all determined to make you believe that you, a hardworking man or woman, with your hardworking, good, and noble community, that you're scum and that they are the elites, that they are the ones who are worth everything and you're worth shit. That you get saddled with a word that they've invented, thanks to Trotsky, called racist, which means absolutely fucking nothing. Meanwhile, they're good and they're beneficial and they're wonderful and they're noble. They're flipping the script, folks. It's a Disgenic society and we're reaching the height of it. And in every case, like I said, ugly behavior, low-born behavior, ignoble behavior is raised to the highest. No more songs about love. We're going to have rap songs about shooting each other. About being this guy thinking he's so tough. People aren't going to get together and learn things. They're not going to educate themselves. Schools are going to be turned into propaganda machines where people learn to hate themselves and hate their ancestors. Disgenics. So the first thing we can do when we realize that we're in a Disgenic society is to take a breath. Take a sigh of relief. Just that's why I work hard and hard and hard and hard. I've worked hard my whole life to better my people, to wake them up, to make them feel good about themselves, to make them realize the truths of history, and I get kicked to the ground? Meanwhile, this sack of shit over here can throw a ball into a hoop like a fucking monkey or a trained seal, right? And he gets millions of dollars. This jack fuck over here, right? He fucking shoots up a bunch of cops and shit and he's let go. This guy over here defends his community. There's a huge trial. Disgenics. This is a Disgenic society. And when that happens, get ready for the fall. And I have no doubt in my mind that the people who are in charge of breaking and destroying ancient empires like they did with Egypt, pushing transsexuality, pushing transvestitism, pushing homosexuality. Same as they did in Greece, same as they did in Rome, same as they did elsewhere. Pushing slavery, pushing crap like that lowers a person, that makes them ignoble because they're ugly and evil. They know that destroys your society. That's why they do it. And we're in the middle of it. And they're doing it for a reason, and it's to destroy our society. So we better realize it, because that's how you first save your society. You have to realize that you're in a Disgenic state. They're doing it on purpose. That's how we pull ourselves out, pass it on, spread the word. This is where we are, in a Disgenic portion of our societal development. They want to create a new one. Of course they do. Before they can do that, they have to destroy the old one. Why do you think they're ripping down statues of noble men? Noble men who did great things. And they're replacing them with ugly monsters who hold up guns to pregnant women. Low thugs. You want to put a black person up in a statue? Go for it. There's plenty of good black people out there. Choose one of them. Not this piece of shit Floyd, who should have been fucking shot the moment the fucking piece of shit picked up a fucking gun. Held up a pregnant woman. Fucking scum. Expect Clown World to get even clownier, my friends. But now that you know that we're in a Disgenic society, you can take a breath of relief. You can pause. You can understand it's never been your fault. We're at that stage where the corrupt are in charge, the low are in charge, and there's nothing that they hate more than the truly noble. When they see this guy out here working all day long and driving home in his pickup truck, they put him down. Because they don't work half as hard as he fucking... They don't work a fucking 1/15th as hard as he worked. 1/100th. They sit on their asses and they collect their paychecks. because they're low-born, doggerel fucking scum. And they've turned our society into one that works for them. So before we can take it back, before we can redefine it, we have to understand where we're in, what we're in. A dysgenic society. And a dysgenic society is one open to communism, the ultimate expression of dysgenic societal structure. The ultimate expression of collectivist insanity and idiots. I hope this helped you today. I hope this helped you. You should feel good now. Know your enemy. Know why they hate you. Know why they hate your people and why they hate your culture and history. Because to the low-born animal that they are, these communist piles of shit, regardless of race, regardless of age, religion, and all that, to them, everything noble is a threat and an enemy and must be brought down. And that's the only way they can raise themselves up. It's not good enough for them to steal all the wealth and the influence. They want you to believe that they are noble. They have to subvert reality. And then, just like it has throughout history, it all comes crashing down. Because you can't have a fucking idiot at the wheel, before a fucking accident happens at some point and everybody fucking dies. Or at the very least, the thing that he's driving around crashes and you got to get off of it. That's where we're at. I say we make an about face. Knowing what we know now, let's make a eugenic society. And I don't mean a eugenics society where the fucking socialists can choose who lives and dies and who breeds. None of that shit. But one that's aligned with nature. Where people who create based on merit, those people survive and those people prosper. The hard workers. And these filthy scumbag shitbags, these bankers, lawyers, politicians, and traders, they make the least amount. And they have to struggle to survive. That's the way it should be. And my friends, with your help, that's the way we're going to make it. So spread the word. Let everybody know what a eugenic society is, a natural society, and what a dysgenic society is. If you want, you can call it a progenic society. How about that one? A progenic society versus a dysgenic society. Right? Get rid of the whole eugenic connotation anyway. All right, folks. You have an excellent day. We'll talk again soon.